your fight nickname is Sundance, which is what you used to call your dad. I mean,
Yeah.
how much confidence does that give you in honoring him and fulfilling that promise that you made to him that, to just not give up and then step into that cage?
Um, it really it helps me feel like he's with me.
Yeah.
Like I said, anytime that like things got difficult when I was running in high school or really just in life, my dad was always there for me.
Yeah.
And so I always wish that he could have seen me fight because I know he would have loved it.
Right.
He was we used to watch UFC fights together and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is just kind of like my way of carrying him with me. And he's always with me, but the black cowboy hat and the nickname Sundance, like that's my dad straight up and down.
It's summer, which means you're going to be outside having fun, and you need cool, comfy t-shirts that represent who you are. Head over to Inspired Tees Company at My Shopify, and you'll find the perfect inspirational Christian tees for you. Inspired Tees also has unique jewelry, coffee mugs, pharmacy cosmetics and skincare, and more. Everything you and your family need for an amazing summer at Inspired Tees Company. Shop online right now at inspiredteesco.myshopify.com.
Cindy, you're a mom, you're an MMA fighter, and much more.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah. New mom.
Yeah.
Getting used to it.
Yeah. Come on. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love to go back with my show or with my guests. Like, where did you grow up? What was childhood like for you?
I grew up in the middle of nowhere in a
Okay.
it's not even considered a town because it's so small. It's called a village
Okay.
of Middlebrook out in
Awesome.
Virginia. I grew up on a horse farm. My dad was a farrier and my mom kind of did different stuff when I was growing up. So, I pretty much just grew up playing outside and doing all the sports. I played football with the guys for like 4 years. And then when I got older, I kind of transitioned away from that and started running and all that stuff. But, just get away from me. I got 4 dogs running around too. So
Okay.
they're very interested. They're like, well, you're never downstairs.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and I had dogs.
Okay.
One of my blue, I don't know if you can see him,
There you
the
go.
blue heeler over there.
Nice.
His dad was my first dog.
Okay.
So like we grew up together, and then we had him, and then one of these other little puppies around here is his only son, so it's like kind of continuing the bloodline.
Yeah.
So he'll be my son's dog. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Love it.
Thank you.
Now, I read this post on your Instagram that you had posted. It's like this link of your journey really going through the process of taking care and losing your dad to cancer. First of all, I'm sorry for that loss. I can't imagine going through that. And second, thank you for sharing your story because it's very, very powerful. But I'm sure that there's a lot of great memories with your dad, but what was a favorite moment that you have with him?
I just really like my dad was very supportive of pretty much anything I wanted to do. But he was like my number one sports like backbone, So anytime I'll be running a race or anything, like he would always find the hardest place or if he hit the home stretch or whatever it was, and I could always hear him over everybody, and he always pushed me to like do better and be better. A lot of times people think like that I'm kind of crazy because of I break stuff all the time and I just like keep going. But that was from my dad because like we were poor growing up, and he was just kind of like, well, don't let it get to you. We're not going to the doctor, so you just kind of get through it,
Awesome.
Like he wouldn't let me get braces because he said, if it doesn't hurt and it doesn't affect you eating, then you don't need it. And I was like, okay, fair enough.
Okay.
So he was a tough guy, but kind of made me who I am.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. Now, I mean,
do you want to be in the interview? Huh? I know.
There we go. There's beautiful baby. Come on, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I heard him crying. I was like, oh god.
Okay.
Here we go.
Right. No problem. Well, I mean, your fight nickname is Sundance, which is what you used to call
Mhm.
your dad. I mean,
Yeah.
how much confidence does that give you in honoring him and fulfilling that promise that you made to him that, to just not give up and then step into that cage?
Um, it really it helps me feel like he's with me.
Yeah.
Like I said, anytime that like things got difficult when I was running in high school or really just in life, my dad was always there for me.
Yeah.
And so I always wish that he could have seen me fight because I know he would have loved it.
Right.
He was we used to watch UFC fights together and stuff.
Yeah.
So this was just kind of like my way of carrying him with me. And he's always with me, but the black cowboy hat and the nickname Sundance, like that's my dad straight up and down, So
Uh,
it gives me a lot of like hope
sure.
and comfort, I think,
Yeah.
because my dad was definitely like my safety blanket growing up. I wouldn't get homesick for home, I'd get homesick for my dad.
Yeah.
So true story. A lot of times where people would be like, let's go to the lake or something, and I'd be at my friend's house ready to go. And then next thing you know, I wake up in the morning and I freak out because I did not want to leave my dad,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Wow.
kind of been weird, since he passed away because like he was always my home.
Sure.
And until this little guy came around, I haven't really felt very much
No.
at home,
Yeah.
felt like I've been missing that since he's been gone. So
Yeah. And I mean, when you first got into MMA, you mentioned in that post that girls would make fun of you and like try to pick fights with you and stuff like that. Like, tell me about that.
oh
Like, how did
yeah.
you deal with that? That's crazy.
Well, I live in a small town and
Yeah.
everybody thinks they know everybody's business,
Sure.
which, 9 times out of 10, you might know a little bit and then everybody makes up the rest.
Right. Yeah.
It's just kind of like that thing. And I don't know, I've just always kind of had a target on my back ever since I was a kid, I don't know why, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like fighting gave me a discipline because before I found it, I was that person who would be like, "What are you looking at?" Like, "You have a problem? Let's go." You know?
Yeah.
And then fighting kind of helped me calm down, as weird as that sounds to some people. Um,
Sure.
are you pooping?
Uh-oh.
Oh. So yeah, for me it helps me calm down.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, like since I've kind of gotten, I don't know, I wouldn't say like bigger, but people know more about me now. Like a lot of people leave me alone.
Yeah.
They don't really like they just think I'm gonna beat them up, and I'm like, I don't fight outside the cage, but
Right.
thanks, I'm glad for that. Like, please leave me alone.
I love the
I've got so
reputation.
much else going on.
Yeah. Oh, I think that the absolute nicest people I've ever met is MMA fighters. I would never
Oh yeah.
mess with you guys, but you guys are like the nicest, most respectful people I've ever met in my life. So I think that's awesome. I mean, that reputation is good that, people are like, oh, I don't want to mess with her.
Yeah, and like people who are like, I have a couple close friends who watch my son, and like one of them is my friend's mom, and she's like, I don't want to upset you, and I'm like, you're fine,
Yeah.
everything's okay. She's like, well, is it okay if I give him some carrots? I'm like, yeah, of course, like I don't, like that's what you're supposed to do. And she's like, I just don't want you to be upset. And I'm
Oh,
like, you're
right.
fine, I'm okay. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna beat you up.
Right. Your last fight was with Fusion Fight League out there in Montana. You got, and I think you got the win, right?
Oh no. Oh, my son like hit his foot on the screen. And I was
Okay.
like, oh no, we lost you.
No, that's good.
He did something with the screen one time and it like took me to the Facebook dating app and I was like, what are you trying to say, son?
Okay. That's awesome. Did you get that?
I got the win out there.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, what's it like for you? I mean, fighters travel all over, but like, what's it like for you to go into like another state where the crowd doesn't know you? Do you ever get intimidated or scared before you walk out there?
I'm never intimidated and I'm never scared.
Okay.
I don't get nervous. I love to fight. It's what I do. Honestly, I was a little more intimidated about flying
Okay.
than going all the way out there to fight, by myself.
Sure.
Because I had never flown before. That was my first trip on an airplane all the way out to Montana, by myself. No corner, no friends, no nothing. Like just winging it literally. So you know, I knew that Serena DeJesus, she had my back.
Yeah.
Because she had already she asked me if I could wrap, like, one of my corners could wrap her hands. And I was like, well, I don't have any corners going out there. I was like, but I'll wrap your hands, you know?
Yeah.
And she was like, all right, cool. And I was like, well, by the way, since we're talking about it, do you think like one of your people could corner me? You know, like, I was just thinking like give me water or whatever, you know, like just be in the corner.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh yeah, Marv could do it. Oh, I didn't realize it was Marv Eastman.
Right.
I don't know why I didn't click. She was just like Marv. And I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, Marv.
Yeah.
You know? And then we get out there and there's like Roxy and there's Marv Eastman and Serena. I got to meet her for the first time in person. You know, like we're pretty good of friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I got to meet her mom. She's talked so much about her mom. I love Billy. And Mark Picos and like all these people that I've just heard about. And I was just like such fangirling, you know, I was like, oh, all these people.
Yeah.
Every I can touch you, you know, like and they were
awesome.
just so nice. And you know, like that definitely helps me relax. I travel for a living, like I move furniture for a moving company.
Yeah.
So child hitting the screen. So I mean, I'm not really like intimidated by new places or
Sure.
you know, stuff like that. I like it. Flying out there was definitely kind of the big whammy.
Yeah.
And then getting back in there after I've been on a 2-year layoff, obviously because this little guy.
Sure.
And then I had to have a surgery. I had like a lot of scar tissue.
Okay.
On my left ovary that matted all of my internal organs together and then stuck them to my pelvic wall, and I was in excruciating pain for like 9 months.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So yeah, had to have surgery, get that taken out, and then well, bam, there he is. So
There he is. Yeah.
that was
awesome.
actually my second surgery for all that stuff. The first time was pretty bad, but it wasn't as bad as the second time.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't eat, I could barely walk. I had to train my dogs to like get me up off the ground. You know, it was pretty awful. And I didn't really talk about it a whole lot because I was just too busy going through it.
Sure.
So that put me out for a while. I was supposed to do like title fights for, I think it was Cowboy Fight Series, and then oh, you're okay. And Spartica, I think. And then go pro in early 2020, but then I ended up having to have my surgery.
Right.
You're okay.
Gotcha.
I don't know where your bottle is. Oh, it's right.
Well, according to what that's awesome.
He's spunky, I'm telling you. He's got his mama's spunk, that's for sure.
It. Oh, that's awesome. You know,
Yeah.
I think now, like, according to Tapology, and it's not always correct, but it showed like you had like some flip-flop wins when you first started back in like, I think 2014, but now you're on this 3-fight win streak. What did you change in your game and your training that's got you on this win streak?
So my first 2 fights, I was an independent. So I lost to Chelsea McCoy for my first fight, who her dad is actually the owner of the MMA Institutes. Like he's the founder.
Gotcha.
So I fought her, and then I fought Angelica Martinez, and I won that one.
Yeah.
And then my old coach, Dave Morris, decided to like, he's like, hey, come train at the Institute. And I was like, oh crap. You know, like I was so intimidated by that. I was like, I gotta go to a gym around people. Like, I don't know what I'm doing really.
Right.
You know, I just kind of got in there and winged it. So yeah, the first couple of years, it was like, you know, I knew I wanted to do it, but it was just kind of getting everything situated and, you know, trying to figure out a schedule and just a lot of moving factors, I guess. And then the last few years, I mean, minus these last 2, obviously, but, you know, before that, I was getting really serious about my training, you know. I would put in extra work. I would do individual sessions with like my teammates, and you know, I was moving furniture full time, so I was like in phenomenal shape. Like my strength was out the wazoo, you know. Which it's getting back, you know, because I'm moving still, but when I was pregnant, you know, obviously I couldn't move that much furniture. I still tried. They would yell at me, but,
right,
you know. The doctor said it was okay, you know. listen to your body. And I was like, cool. So I can lift couches and stuff. And he was like, don't lift a couch by yourself. And I was like, who does that anyway? But
Yeah.
you know, sometimes we do. I
Yeah.
wasn't telling them that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you know, I just got like super focused. I really tried to focus on like the technique and understanding like why things work, and just kind of honing in who I was as a fighter.
Yeah.
I know everybody knows I'm a striker and that, you know, I've got some pretty decent hands, but you know, I'm not too shabby on the ground either, you know.
Right.
Don't
Right.
count me out. But we're working on that. And like, you know, even now, I guess, you know, a lot of people were like, oh, you know, you did so great for your first fight back. And I was like, all I can see is just like, well, I sucked there and I sucked there and I need to clean that up and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Trying to give myself the benefit of the doubt, you know, 'cause I've been out for 2 years. But I'm definitely like a perfectionist, and I'm never happy with like what I do, except for the Kelsey Gilmore fight. I was very happy with that fight.
Okay.
That was for Cowboy Fight Series
Yeah.
back in January, and that was me. That was who I am as a fighter, you know. And everything was just so clean and crisp and cutting angles, and like I felt good. And so that's really what I'm trying to get back to that, but I want to surpass that definitely.
Yeah.
And I feel like this next fight for Fusion, I'm fighting Casey McBride. And
Oh, that'll be good. Nice.
yeah, she's a striker too.
Yeah.
And you know, I really shine against other strikers. It's like it's my bread and butter and I love it. And you know, fighting like decent quality people, like, you know, fighting people who are on my level or a little bit higher, I feel like it brings out the best in me, you know.
Yeah.
Not saying that Genesis wasn't, you know, she gave me what's for, you know, she's a great wrestler. She had great top pressure. She was extremely heavy. I don't know if that was because she missed weight or just because she's good at, you know, maintaining control.
Yeah.
But you know, that one was a little weird for me because she's 18 and she looked very, very, very young.
Okay.
And so like just having my son and then fighting her, I was just like, I don't want to hit you. You know what I mean? Like it was weird.
Yeah.
I've never felt like that in a fight ever. And I was just like, what is this? You know?
Right.
At one point, I think I kicked her or something, and she winced, and the ref was like, "Are you okay?" And I stopped, and I was like, "Yeah, are you okay?" And then I was like, "Wait a second, come on, Sydney, like, you're fighting, like,
Yeah.
come on." But that kill instinct just wasn't there for that one.
Okay.
I don't know what it was. It was just weird. It was just really weird.
Yeah.
So hopefully this next one, you're just a happy baby, aren't you? Yeah. So hopefully for this next one, it'll be there, and I feel like it will. You know.
Yeah. When's that fight?
It's either going to be August 21st or August 28th.
Okay. Cool.
And so like this weekend, I realized that my son, he's so happy. His 6 month checkup would be the Monday after, if it was on the 21st. So it would be the Monday following that fight.
Okay.
And I wouldn't fly back into Charlotte. I wouldn't get back into Charlottesville until like midnight. And then from previous experience, you know, the last fight, dealing with that 2-hour time difference and then coming back here.
Yeah.
It really took me a couple of days to recover.
Sure.
So having to take him to get his 6 month shots, you know, that morning at 11:40 when I get back and I'm brain dead, and then having to deal with that is probably not going to be so great. So we'll see if they can let me do the 28th.
Okay.
But we'll see. Either one of those days, it's going to be one of those weekends. So.
Awesome. I believe action is the foundation of success. With strategic action, your vision can become a thriving reality. However, in today's modern age, you will need world-class digital infrastructure designed around the goal of your business. At Vision Thrive, we specialize in creating websites, e-commerce sites, and mobile apps for your business. When you work with us, we have a no questions asked refund policy, so you're guaranteed to like what you see. If you're interested, please visit visionthrive.com. That's VISION THRIVE.com. Look, this is perfect for every entrepreneur and MMA fighter out there. Again, take a look at visionthrive.com. I love, like, on your Instagram, like, you talk about faith. Like, how important is your faith in God, and how does that fit into your fight game?
100% it's everything to me.
Yeah.
Like, even when I'm training, if I'm doing cardio or something, I found this trick a long time ago. Maybe not a trick, but whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can't really think very much when you're doing fighters cardio, you know, like, you're just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And so if I get like to the bottom of myself, you know, I just repeat in my head over and over again, the Lord is my strength, the Lord is my strength, you know, and then, like, it always pulls out, and, like, I always pray, and, you know, I talk to God about my fights and just life in general, you know, like, I'm very rough around the edges, always have been, probably always will be.
Me too.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you know. Look at the people Jesus walked with, like,
Totally.
I don't think it's like it. Anyway, well, we've got a lot of Pharisees and Sadducees that have given the faith a bad name. But nobody's perfect, and, like, neither am I, for sure. But if I wouldn't have walked so closely with God my entire life, I definitely would not be where I am right now. Even when I go through, like, the darkest trials of my life, God is the only thing that has really pulled me through, you know. And I feel like he gave me my son because I had 10 years of miscarriages and infertility and all kinds of fun noise. And then I got my little miracle.
Come on. That's awesome. I'm a believer as well. And awesome. I love hearing the stories of people and using their faith in fighting and things like that. You know, I went through like 10 years of craziness in my life before I got rocked by God on Easter morning. And, you know,
nice.
It was a interesting story. I'll send you the link, but you know,
I do.
I got invited to a church event in my early 20s by this girl, and I went there only because I thought she was good looking. I didn't have any friends or anything like that, right? And then God rocked me a month later, and now that girl is my wife of almost 17 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been a wild journey for sure, but yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and, like, he can change anybody, you know, and like, there's nothing that's impossible with him. That's another one of my favorite verses. And I wholeheartedly believe that, you know. I've been the underdog, not just in fighting, but just in general, my entire life. And I think God loves an underdog. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he gets behind those people. And just the people who refuse to give up and refuse to quit. And I'm definitely one of those people, you know, like, but I want to use my fighting career to bring light to him and to show people, like, if God can get to somebody as crazy as me, you know, like, he can get to you too. And you know, like, this 4th of July was the first 4th of July in my adult life that I wasn't, like, completely trash. You know, I posted that on Facebook, like a video talking about it. And you know, like, that's a big deal for me. And for me, that's all God. And so I try and use my walkout music, and usually they let you talk afterwards, which Fusion didn't, which is fine. But you know, I always use that opportunity to shout out God, you know, like, all of my walkout songs are, like, Christian songs. I always listen to, like, Christian rap and stuff like that. Like, that's my jam. And all my friends know it, and, like, they're always like, oh, you got any good new music and stuff? And they're like, oh, is this a Christian rapper? Like, all this stuff. So even just the smallest things, you'd be surprised. And, like, the small consistent things are the things that people notice and you know, take note of, for sure. So yeah, my faith is 100% very important to me. My son and I go to church every Sunday, except for when I was in Montana, but I watched it online. You know. So yeah, and, like, my whole church is completely behind me fighting. Like, they've played my fights live at church before, you know, like, my pastor and everybody is, like, always like, when are you fighting again? And you know, like they buy the pay-per-views and, you know, they pray for me. And it's just such a huge community, really, honestly. Like I'm very blessed with the church that I go to. And
That's
I've been
awesome.
going there for a long time.
Yeah.
And even through all my shenanigans, they're never like, oh, Sydney, all right, let's write her off. They're like, oh yeah, all right, we believe in you, Sydney. And I'm like, cool, because I don't, you know, like
Sure.
plenty of times along the way. And
Yeah.
so they just really rally around me. And I'm very thankful for that. And they're a huge driving force in my life, honestly, for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. Now I'm a big music guy, so I've to ask the question, like, you know, you talked about Christian rap and stuff like that. What kind of music, or who's your favorite artist that you listen to?
I really like KB, Andy Mineo, Derek Minor. You know, NF is really good too. He sneaks in. He's kind of like if you don't really pay attention to his lyrics, you probably wouldn't know that he's a Christian.
Yeah. Right.
But he's just really talks about some real stuff, you know. And I really like when people deal with like depression or, you know, like battling your own thoughts, because that's our biggest enemy is our own minds, at least for me.
Totally.
And so just to have people like that who could use their platform for anything, they use it to bring people to God and to shed light on subjects that we're all going through. And it kind of like it gives us hope. And I really like that. KB is another one of my favorites. Like he's got some fire stuff out there. Yeah, and then that like worship music and like country, like old country. That's like my music stuff.
I came
or like
across
classic rock.
yeah, right. I mean, always the good stuff.
Yeah, the new stuff though, I don't know. Like new music, mainstream music doesn't really appeal to me that much. You know, I don't really like new rap at all. Like to me, it's offensive. It just makes my skin crawl. You know what I mean? So I prefer something that has like value, and that, you know, my kid can listen to, you know, like I don't want him to grow up on like songs about drugs and, you know, exploiting women and stuff like that. We get enough of that as it is. So he's definitely gonna be raised right, hopefully.
Come on. I got one more question for you. What's the best part about being a mom?
Just seeing him so happy, you know, and knowing that like I've kept him alive for almost 5 months.
Yeah, that's how I felt too as a dad. Like
keeping him happy. It's like, yeah, and like he's playing with his little feet and stuff now, and like just all these little small developmental, you know, progressions are some of my favorite things, you know. But especially when he'll look at me, just like smile or giggle, or you know, just him being happy. That's my main goal. And so anytime that he's being happy, that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
And the snuggles are amazing.
Right. Absolutely. My
kids are 11 and forever.
I know. My kids are 11 and 8 and they still snuggle, but I think the time of snuggling is the amount of time is lessening every year. I'm like, oh man. You know? Sydney,
I cherish it.
To give an opportunity to give shout outs to teammates, coaches, sponsors, anything like that. I just wanted to give you that kind of time on the camera's all yours.
So I do want to shout out my team. First of all, my old coach, David Morris, from the MMA Institute in Charlottesville. If it wasn't for you, I've told you a million times, but thank you for everything that you've done for me for the last like 7 years. You know, you put up with me and you taught me so much. And because of you, I can take that forward and help teach other people. But also, you know, you are the basis of who I am as a fighter, and you always will be. And I hope you know that. And I love you, Coach. Shout out to the MMA Institute, Mastering MMA out in Mount Stolen right now. We're moving to Bridgewater next month with Lee Swecker. And I just want to give him and James Huffman a shout out, because they have put in a lot of work with me. They let me come out when I was pregnant. Didn't think I was crazy. Thank you very much for that one. Appreciate you. But yeah, you know, they're going to be my team going forward. And, you know, they really care about everything, and I appreciate that. I also want to shout out Sucker Punch Entertainment. because by the time that this drops, then I will have dropped the news that I am signed. I'm a managed fighter now.
Come on. That's awesome. Congratulations.
God is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my agent, Chris Creech, Brian Hamper, all those guys with Sucker Punch, they're already amazing. You know, I don't have any we don't have any corporate sponsors, you know, Ricky Bobby. It's like, it's just you out there.
Yeah.
It's just me out there. But we're working on getting sponsors and stuff.
Yeah.
So honestly, if anybody wants to sponsor me, we're going for the top, you know, like I'm not gonna stop. You know, I had a baby and I came back and fought. He wasn't even 4 months old yet. So if you have any question about my determination or grit, you can wipe those off the board.
Yeah.
You know, I'm coming for everything, and I mean that. It's my time. I'm not getting any younger, and I'm making my run for it. So as soon as this Fusion contract is done, we're going pro, and we're coming for the top. Definitely, you know. And I just want to shout out my church family too. You guys are awesome. Thank you for never giving up on me, Destiny Family Center. You guys are amazing. My sister, my mom, anybody who has watched my kid, you know, to help me be able to go train. Shout out to y'all, because I've taken him a couple of times and he loves it, but it's just kind of, you know, you still have to be mommy.
Sure.
You can't just be like fighter.
Yep.
You know, and just all the people who've showed me support and love over the years. Yes, of course you. Yes, of course you. And you know, all of my teammates over the years have helped me sharpen my skills. Anybody who ever gave me an opportunity to fight on their shows. You know, but mostly God. Like, definitely want to shout out God. Because without him, I wouldn't be in front of you, and I wouldn't be who I am.
Yeah.
So I'm here to represent him and just do the best that I can and have a good time and hopefully give people hope. If I can do it, you can do it. It doesn't have to be fighting, but you know, everybody's fighting a battle some way, shape, or form. And so if I can get through all the stuff I've gotten through, you know, follow me on social media. I'll give you specifics, you know, pop those little stories up every now and then. But yeah, if I can do it, he can do it for you too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But God doesn't just do everything for you. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It takes hard work.
Totally.
You know, and obedience is sacrifice. That's what the Bible says.
Yep.
So sometimes you have to be obedient, and sometimes you gotta go above and beyond in sacrifice too, you know. But he will never leave you or forsake you, and he's always gonna be there. He's always gonna have your back. Just trust him, love him, and just do the best you can. That's all you can do, you know. Try and have fun along the way.
Absolutely. Sydney, such an honor to have you on my show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love your story. It's so powerful. You are an absolute world changer, and I'm excited to see you back in the cage fighting again.
Me too.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Thank you again. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, Erik.
Thank you so much for watching the show today. I appreciate it. If you could, please leave a rating and review on our Apple podcast. The link is down below. That helps us get our message out, get the show out, helps us get ranked out there on the Apple podcast. Also, leave a comment below, man. I'd love to know what part of this show made the most impact on you. I respond to every comment on there. And please share this video, whether you're watching on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please share it out. We want to make sure that we impact as many people as we can with the guests that come on my show and highlight those guests and what they've got going on, and they're changing the world. So thank you so much for the time. So appreciate it. Have an awesome day.